So first off, I just want to tell you guys my story really fast, just a little bit about me, my history. So this last summer, I actually did some awesome failing. And for the last 5 years, I've done some spectacular failing. I went out and sold books door to door. I've knocked on about 20,000 doors, had over 1,000 customers. Last summer, I made $17,000 over the summer. And this summer, I came out and I was actually brought out a team. I had a team of 5 people, and I was working directly with the vice president of the company. And I was feeling good this summer. I was feeling on fire. I was ready to go. I wanted to go and not fail and just make some awesome money and bring out some awesome team members. And then stuff started to fall apart. We got sent to kind of a crappy place, and I don't want to play victim to my circumstances, but it was really damn hot there. And the weather, literally, some days it just said dust. Like, it didn't say cloudy or rainy, it just said dust.
What does that mean?
It was dust. There was just dust in there. We were in the desert in California. So after the first week, then 3 of my 5 team members left. So I kind of lost my motivation. I felt like a failure as a leader, because, you know, it's one thing when you fail yourself, but then when you fail someone else, then it's a lot harder to deal with. So I stopped working around 5 weeks into the summer, and I just reread an old book, which I had read once in the past, by Tim Ferriss, The 4-Hour Work Week. How many of you guys have read that? Show of hands.
Heard about it.
Okay, if you haven't read it, please read it. It'll change your life forever.
The 4-Hour Work Week?
Yes, that's the one.
Okay.
So I was reading it, and he talks in this, in one of the parts in there about efficiency versus effectiveness. So effectiveness is choosing the right things to do, and then efficiency is doing those things quickly. And he said, I would think that the model of efficiency, of perfect efficiency, would be a perfect door-to-door salesman. However, they would be very ineffective, as they could make the exact same amount of sales presentations online in a matter of minutes. And that resonated with me on such a deep level that I stopped working entirely and sunk into a huge depression for a few weeks. I literally just spent time sitting in Starbucks, just reading, just online watching videos, trying to figure out like what I was doing and why I was being ineffective, but I was just focusing on the efficiency and what I wanted to do after the summer. And it was a huge change for me. So my goal for this presentation, my goal for my talk right now is what I want you guys to realize is what you want to do, B, how easy it actually is to do it, and then C, just give you a couple tools to help you move on the path forward. First thing is know what you want to do. So this really comes down to honesty. Like, you're living a life right now, you're spending your time, if you think of like each moment of time like $1 or like a quarter or something, and there's a vending machine there. And all the other people in your life, they like certain things in that vending machine. They're like, oh, I like the chips, I like the chocolate. And you're like, I really want these almonds. And other people are like, no, buy the chips, Trust me, you'll be happier in the future if you buy the chips. That's what people are doing to you. People are like, whether or not you realize it, you're probably, a lot of the things that you're doing aren't things that you honestly want to be doing. They're something that someone else wants you to be doing. And you really, like, you owe it to yourself, and you owe it to your parents, and you owe it to all your friends and everyone else in your life to just say, no, this is what I want to do. This is who I want to be. And don't let other people say, no, this is who you're going to be, or this is what you're going to do. Does that make sense? Resonating with this? Okay.
Yeah.
It's good. Yeah,
I really like the analogy of the money. That's
That
real nice.
Thank you.
makes me value my time a little more.
Yeah, it's the only resource you really have.
And it only comes in dollars. It's not like you know what I mean. Like it's like you said, it's like $1 or a quarter. It's not like $10 at a time. Like that's why you got to be careful with each dollar.
Yeah, and it's the most valuable resource you have. Like you can waste $1 and you can earn it back. I could smash this computer and then repair it or buy a new one. But if I waste 10 minutes of time, no one can do anything about that. Yeah, so let's talk really quickly about how the way your brain works. So your brain has like 2 main parts that I just want to tell you guys about. You probably know about this. The lizard brain, which is like back in the back, and then there's the neofrontal cortex, which is up here. So the neofrontal cortex is where you make your decisions. It's the source of willpower. It's your rational consciousness, basically. And then your lizard brain, that's further back in your brain, and that's like way older. So that brain just basically wants sex, food, and safety. It doesn't really care about anything So your lizard brain is basically what most people run off of. That's kind of your subconscious. It's what controls you. And then your neofrontal cortex is what you use to make decisions. Now the word decision is really interesting. Tony Robbins has this little piece where he talks about how decision came from the Latin words decidere, which means to kill off. So when you're making a decision, you're actually killing off future possible versions of yourself. And your lizard brain hates that. It does not like it, because that's scary. That's really scary. That's like, oh, but what if I want to go back to this safety? Most of the time when you make a decision, you're not choosing the safe thing. You unconsciously choose the safe thing. You consciously choose to step out of your comfort zone, fail, and make that decision. So it's really weird, because people will do crazy things just to keep possibilities open that aren't even the best possibility for them. Dan Ariely is a professor of behavioral economics at Duke University, and he did this study where people could click on these doors on a computer screen, and the doors would pay out different amounts of money. So the first door would pay out the most amount of money, and then the other ones would pay out a smaller amount. So people would just click on the first door, and they wouldn't even bother with the other ones once they figured out that it was paying out the most. Now, he changed the study a little bit. That was the control group. He changed the study a little bit, and he made it so that if you didn't click on a door, that it started to shrink. So now, people are here clicking on the door, which is giving the highest payout. Like, let's say it's $1, and the other ones are 50 cents and 25 cents. So the 50-cent door and the 25-cent door would start to shrink if people weren't clicking on them. Now, what people would do is they would actually sacrifice profit just to keep the other doors open. So they would click away from the big door just to get those other doors to stay on the screen, because they didn't want to lose out on the possibility. So they're actively sabotaging themselves just to keep the possibility there. That's crazy. They're crazy. So that's what your brain's trying to do to you. It's just like messing with you. It just wants you to be safe. So how does that really show up in your life? Like not being willing to be honest about it? Because deep down, like what would you guys do if you knew you couldn't fail?
Well, it's kind of like just with like a job, you sacrifice a big high-paying job that you might not necessarily like, but it's a good pay, versus what you really want to do is shrink and fade away. The more you go with the money.
Exactly. Yeah. There's a saying that goes, I think it's you get to choose between passion and money. And if you choose passion, the money will come after anyways. But if you choose money, then you're literally selling your life for money.
Yes.
It's just kind of a shitty thing anyways. It's just paper and metal. Numbers on the screen.
Yeah.
Second step is really simple. It's to just be what you want. Like, do it. Help people out. Just go out there and give. Give to people. Just give it away. Just choose something that you want to do and then start helping people in that area. Now you might think that you don't have like that expertise or the authority, but I guarantee you that there are people in your life who look up to you as an expert, as an authority on things. Like, think of a time when someone asked you for advice about something, and you gave them advice. And then later on they're like, hey, thanks, that really helped out. Like, can you all think of a time like that? Yeah? That right there, if you just like do that with relation to what you're really passionate about, then over time, this isn't gonna be like a get-rich-quick thing. You won't be making $100,000 next year. But after like 2 or 3 years of just consistently helping people, consistently answering their questions, consistently putting yourself out there, even if you're doing something else for money on the side, then you'll get to a point where people will trust you because you're delivering them so much value right up front without expecting anything in return, without asking for anything in return right off the bat, that you'll have built up like a goodwill account basically. And then when you do ask for money, then people will literally throw it at you. So like that's really, it's kind of simple. And this isn't some like new agey bullshit stuff. There's like legit science backing this up. Robert Cialdini, the author of that book, and then also Influence, he basically spent his whole life studying persuasion, what makes people say yes. And he narrowed that down to 6 major principles. Augustine, can you name them?
Reciprocity, commitment, social proof, scarcity.
Likability and authority.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's really easy to build up 3 of those just by giving away stuff to people, like giving away advice. And most of what I'm talking about, guys, I would really recommend doing it online. Like making videos. Like, this is brilliant, what Augustine's doing here with this. Because, like, after a few years, yeah, if the Better Man Club keeps going, and these videos get viewed and it gets bigger and better, and there's like hundreds of members, then that's just gonna be so much credibility for him. People will, and for you too, yeah. People will look to you guys and say, hey, can you help us set up an event? Hey, can you help us with this? And you'll just establish yourself as an authority, or they will. So yeah, giving away gifts really, and just like going out there and just giving it away, really influences likability, reciprocity, and authority. So like reciprocity, basically, if I give you something, then you feel indebted to me. It's kind of
Right.
And tell me
really
the Hare Krishna example.
the Hare Krishna example is awesome. Yeah, like the Hare Krishna people, they got
Who doesn't know?
so
Sorry
many
to interrupt. Who doesn't know who Hare Krishna is? You don't know. You don't know. Nobody.
So Hare Krishna is a religion that's based in, is it in India?
I think so.
I think that's where it started. Yeah, it's like a Buddhist offspring.
Yeah.
I don't really know too much about the actual religion, but what they would do is they would go up to people and they would ask them for, they would go up to people.
They would give him a flower.
They started off just asking for donations,
Oh
and
yeah.
they found that was pretty ineffective.
Yeah.
So then what they would do is they would go up to people and they would give them a flower, and people would say, "Thank you." Who's not going to take a flower when someone in a dress with a bald head gives it to you, right? And then they'd give them a copy of their book, and they'd say, and then the people would say, "Oh, thank you." And then they'd say, "Yeah, we just asked for a small donation in return for that." And people would give like so much money. Like, you know how free samples, last time you went to the mall, there's the people standing there in the food court with the free samples, giving those away? They're just hacking reciprocity. They're just doing that because it's a smart business move. Like when you give someone a little gift, then they're more inclined to purchase from you, even if like it's exponentially different. Like a $5 gift can lead to someone buying $100 worth of stuff, even $1,000 worth of stuff. And then likability, people like people more who give them stuff. And then
No, my bad for interrupting, but the Hare Krishna, I got a kind of funny story.
yes.
I was actually leaving the gym, and there's a couple of them walking around campus doing that. And he came up to me. He starts out, oh, you know, I'm here working with the temple or not temple or whatever. I think they have a temple. I don't even know. And so he hands me a book, the Bhagavad Gita.
Bhagavad Gita.
That one. And he goes, oh, just ask for a small donation in return. And I was leaving the gym, so I'm like, oh, yeah, actually, I don't have my wallet, so sorry about that. He goes, oh, okay. And he like took the book out of my hand.
Wow.
No, I did like 2 years ago. Right here, like in front of ACB, and he's like, "Oh, can you get some donation?" I'm like, "Yeah, sure, why not? Whatever." And you know, just went to my wallet, whatever, give him a few change, some coins, whatever. And then he was like, "Oh, you know, I appreciate this, but like, how about like a more generous one, like a little bit more?" And I'm like, then I was like, "Okay, I'm a generous person, but I'm like, chill." Like, so, like I give it to you. You know, I feel cool about it. You know, it benefits you in some way. You know, it's a little stuff, but I'm like, okay, ask for a little donation. I gave a little one. Don't push your luck. You know.
Yeah.
Did he take the book away from you too?
No. I get the book. I get the book. I was like, you know, it's one of those like, you ask for a donation, say it, mean it, be happy with the little that you're gonna get or whatever. But just, I don't know. I was like, okay, now you can push it. It's your overstepping reciprocity boundaries.
Yeah.
So,
Something like that happened to me. Lady outside my house is like, "Hey, do you have some change inside?" I'm like, "Yeah." And I went inside and I came back out and I had like a handful of change and I gave it to her and she looked at it and she goes, "Do you have any bills?"
Oh my god.
I was like, "Go off my property now. Get out of here." Yeah. So okay. So if you're giving away stuff, physical objects, then that influences like reciprocity and likability. But if you're giving away like ideas, so if you're giving people advice, if you're giving people videos or something that can help them out in that way, then that also influences their perception of you as an authority. So that's basically what I wanted to talk about with you guys. Just be honest with yourself and with people in your life about what you want to do and who you want to be, and then do it and be totally willing to